Hi, everybody. So, Confident Leader Journey, welcome to it and welcome to this community. I have a huge belief that a lot of what keeps us stuck in our work, stops us from kind of fulfilling our potential or being happy in the workplace, is partly about our confidence, but also about our knowledge that we have and information that we have about ourselves and about the world around us. I know from my own personal experience that using different lenses during my career to identify why I do things the way I do, why I talk the way I do, why my values are what they are, understanding those things enabled me to interact more effectively with others, to manage myself more effectively, and be more successful in the workplace. Understanding what really drives me means I can be in a place where those drives and needs are met, and so I feel more fulfilled. And understanding my triggers, what triggers me into conflict, what changes my behavior, understanding that is a prerequisite for being able to manage that. So this vlog is about something called Bardo. Now, any of you who follow the Buddhist path will have heard that word. Bardo is typically used for the space between the ending of one life and the reincarnation of the soul in another life. So it's the space between. And typically in most of the teachings, in that period, you have all the knowledge and insight you need, and you lose it again when you're reborn and you have another chance at life to deal with certain things. So Bardo is the space between one thing and another. And I like to use this to represent the space between a stimulus and a response. And if we have that space, we can choose how we respond instead of just reacting to it. Okay? For a lot of us in our daily lives, something happens, somebody says something, somebody says a phrase or an event happens, and we react. Before we know it, we've had an emotional response and we've had a behavioral response. And then afterwards, we're like, well, why did I do that? Why couldn't I have acted differently? Here's the thing, when there's no time between the stimulus and the reaction, there's no space for you to think about it, process it, or decide and choose a different path. What we focus on in the Confident Leader Journey and what I focus on in my coaching is how can we extend that period? How can we build the Bardo so that when something happens, instead of reacting to it based on past events, past experiences, and our history and our mindset and our beliefs, how can we then choose to respond differently? Now, some of us already do this to some extent. If you behave differently at work to at home, or you behave differently with your parents to with your friends, you're already making some of those choices. Okay? But do you also realize that sometimes you're not so much in control? A classic example for me was going home to my parents for Christmas after my first term away at uni. And I came home for Christmas and I'm all confident. I'm new. I've got these new friends. I've got these behaviors. This is who I am. Go back home and I slotted right back into the old patterns of behavior. I basically lost all my control and choice about that. And I was reacting to the situation, the scenario, and the old triggers. Fascinating stuff, I think. So how can we build the Bardo? Now, the best way to do this is a phrase I use a lot. Self-awareness is a prerequisite for self-management. The more we know about ourselves, the more control we have. So I'll give you an example. If I am aware that I am primarily an introvert, i.e. I get my energy from being by myself and quiet time. And actually, although I can be social and gregarious and enjoy being around people, I find it tiring and I need to kind of recharge my batteries by having some downtime. If I know that about myself, I can build that into my day so I don't get overwhelmed. And I don't then start reacting because I'm overtired or stressed because I haven't had enough downtime. If I know I'm an extrovert, and I get my energy from being around other people and being in those social environments, If I know that about myself and I start feeling low down and demotivated, I can plan to be with a group of people to get my mojo flowing again. So just at that simple level, knowing about myself helps me manage myself. Now, can you imagine the impact that has? That gives me back some power, choice, and control over what's happening to me. That then means I can have different interactions with other people. I can manage those interactions differently. And actually, my interactions with the world also change. So self-awareness is the prerequisite for self-management. And if we want to build the Bardo, what we've really got to build is our self-awareness. How do we do that? Well, easy way to do that. I mean, you can go online and do things yourself. There's training courses you can do. But if you join the Taster program, we will look at the Myers-Briggs type inventory. We will look at the strengths deployment inventory, and we will look at neuroscience and the SCARF model to have different lenses to look inside ourselves and increase our awareness. You can do these things yourself online. But if I was to say, what's the first step to building my confidence and building my leadership, whether I'm leading myself, a team or family or whatever, I would say focus on increasing your self-awareness, finding different lenses to understand why you do the things you do, why you react the way you do, why you behave the way you do, and think about how we can build that Bardo to have more control and choice in our lives. Take care.